According to an old legend, Nostradamus was buried here.
Nostradamus? Sounds like a rock group to me.
Yeah, top of the pops in 1500.
They had rock groups then?
Edith.
So tell me, computer brain.
Well, he was kind of a fortune teller, a prophet from the 16th century. He predicted a whole mess of things that have come true.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Citizen Frame and Halloween month and a half. We give you that sweet treat Amityville horror, and now we're back again. I'm just trying not to laugh here with 1985's Demons. I haven't seen this movie in fucking ages. I just remember having a killer soundtrack. I mean, a killer soundtrack. I'm talking Billy Idol, White Idol, Accept, Fast as a Shark, Motley Crue, Save Our Souls, Rick Springfield, Walking on the Edge, Go West, We Close Our Eyes, The Adventure, Set My Heart, Saxon Everybody, and the list keeps going.
Yep. And it's very much, you know, I mean, obviously the director and writer is obviously a fan of this sort of rock music, and it was obviously done to appeal to the sort of rock goth audience, horror-loving audience, and that's totally fine by me, because even in the cinema, there's like AC/DC posters and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made for the 80s.
Oh, yeah, and that audience.
The one thing about the 80s films, 80s films were happy to be in the 80s. So anything that was hot in the 80s was always embedded in that movie.
Well, this is it. It's like, you know, I mean...
self-promotion of the 80s was huge in the 80s.
But I mean, but it's not only that. I mean, each decade of the 20th century had its own iconic look and style, and different looks and styles, and sort of vibe and aesthetic. See, since the year 2000, it's been just, 24 years of meh and sort of overly produced blandness. I mean, not all, obviously, but I'm talking about in popular culture in general, with music, film, TV, you know, and it's just a bit, you know, where's, you know...
Well, I mean, when the millennium hit, everything got kind of boring.
Bland. And
90s, you had grunge. You had drama cinema. You had
Tarantino.
The rebirth. Yeah, Tarantino. You had smart. Yeah, everything was different, but you know when it came out. You know what era it came out. You know why it came out at that particular time. 80s, we all know when you did watch an 80s film. 70s, we've talked about it night and day. Why you knew the 70s and so forth and so forth. The new from the 2000s on.
Yeah, and
now don't get me wrong, guys. There's great stuff out there, but considering how much stuff's get made,
but in the mainstream, especially with music and film, there is so much safe, bland crap out there. And with the music scene, I blame people like Simon Cowell, Louis Walsh, and all those clowns who destroyed it with all those horrible reality programs, where real, authentic talent didn't get a look in.
Reality TV destroyed anything. Yeah. No, in general.
Yes.
We talk, you know, Married at First Sight and all these dating shows and Survivor and Amazing Race, Big Brother. It's all shit.
Yeah.
And DIY is all the big
awful.
thing. It's what the fuck.
It's cheaply made drivel, and it's pure quantity over quality. Too many channels, too much shit.
Yeah, I don't watch mainstream anymore, so
I can't. I just can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah, I can't either, so I don't bother.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, we're gonna jump back.
Rant over.
Into Demons 1985. Well, that really went off the tracks there.
That was unplanned. Yep.
Before we start, we have to mention. I won't mention the name, but it rhymes with a-hole.
I know what's coming here.
It's Trevor's wee birthday.
Yes, it is big.
What are you, 95?
Well, I feel like it at times, especially doing this podcast, but no, 48, you know.
Fucking old fuck.
It's just, I'm fucking younger than you, but it's just another day to me. So, yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah. As I was saying to someone today, due to my lifestyle, let's just say in my late teens and 20s, I feel so much better in my 40s than I did in my 20s, mentally and physically. So,
and you remember more.
Exactly. Bring it on, you know. And I'm going to get a wee bit emotional here and a bit profound for the podcast. But, you know, there's a wise saying that It's never regret growing old because it is a privilege denied to many. So bring it on, I say.
Wow. Let's take a step back. Wow.
Touching. That was, yeah.
Not as good as Can You Turn Off Those Two Fucking Idiots?
Yeah. No, but that was just a different level of emotion, you know. That was just that just hit us right in the feels. That one, that great review we got. Would you stop listening to those two fucking idiots? You know, I mean, you couldn't pay for publicity like that.
All right, Demons, 1985.
Yes,
I've seen this like 12 times, but this is it. Now it's kind of fun though. We've talked giallo films before with Deep Red and Mario Bava and Dario Argento. Now, I don't think this is really giallo. I think it's more just horror, mainstream horror.
I would say if it had any sort of association in terms of Italian horror movies, I would say Fulci.
Yeah. I read up on this a little bit. Now, Lamberto Bava is known for doing kind of fun Italian ripoffs. Like he did a film called Blast Fighter, which is kind of like Rambo. Then you had Devouring Waters, which was like Jaws. Blade in the Dark was actually pretty good. But his father is a bigwig in the business, Mario Bava. And he's a successful cinematographer and director, very talented man. Did both on a lot of his films. He did Bay of Blood. He did Hatchet of the Hunt for a Honeymoon. My favorite, Black Sunday.
Yes, and the reason Black Sunday's a classic.
I brought up Black Sunday. Yep. Because the reason I bring up Black Sunday is because the mask featured in this film is the mask, Satan's mask used in Black Sunday. Well, it's kind of like it, and he was paying homage to his father, who passed early on, by using the mask, kind of inspired from Black Sunday. And I thought that was a kind of really full circle, kind of cool.
I would even say that even the film within the film, you know, at this movie theater, which, you know, they find the old sort of Curse of Tumult, it's quite gothic, you know, the whole Nostradamus grave and stuff. Yeah, that's even there's certain sort of Black Sunday vibes about that as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an homage to his father, and I think that's pretty cool. And it's nice the fact that this is Lamberto Bava still around, still directing, but nothing like this was his big success. This one right here,
and spawned a sequel as well, which I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it, but heard, you know, but you know, and of course we know Dario Argento mentored him. He's actually a co-writer on this, co-producer, and so forth. And also Lamberto Bava also trained under Dario Argento, like I just said, but as an assistant director for Tenebra and some other stuff he's done. So he's worked closely with everyone kind of in this field. So he's definitely had some, you know, like what you just mentioned, what Roger Corman has done for American filmmakers. Yes. You've got Mario Bava and Dario Argento doing the same thing for, you know, up and coming Italian. That's the way Italian.
It should be. You know what I mean? The sort of more experienced hands, you know, sort of bringing in the new blood and mentoring them and keeping them right. That's the way it should be. Not just in film or horror, but I think in life.
Yeah. Exactly. In life. Wow, you're so profound.
This is poetic.
Wow. Who knew Demons would be the film that Trevor finds himself? Fucking hell.
I'm going on some sort of philosophical journey here with this, and we're only 9 minutes into it. You know?
Oh my God. Well, the movie's not much to talk about, so we might as well keep going. What I love about this film, and there's not many of them. I'm missing a bunch. I'm just not remembering them. But I love movies that are within the movie. And this is one of the first films to really do it. There's some fun ones like Matinee is a good one, John Goodman. Popcorn's a really underrated one no one's probably heard of. The End of Shocker kind of does this a little bit. Yeah. Scream 2 actually probably stole from this with the famous death scene of Jada Pinkett Smith when she was getting stabbed in the movie theater during the movies playing, but no one thought it was real.
Well, also possibly even the original Scream where Randy is watching Halloween while Ghostface is behind him, and he's going by. You know, it's all very sort of meta. Yeah, you know, and jokes. Yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So it's got a lot going for it. It
also reminds me of a Clive Barker story from his Books of Blood that's never actually been filmed, called Son of Celluloid, a bit at Haunted Cinema, where it's although within Clive Barker's story, it's not just a haunted cinema. The character, due to this living cancer, essentially, that this criminal has, taken refuge in the cinema, it makes the cinema's in an old sort of church type building, and it makes the people from the films actually come alive, but they're possessed by the demonic forces, this demonic force that comes from the living cancer. But I definitely got vibes of that from this Demons.
Okay. Great.
Just,
I got nothing to add. I never read the book, so I can speak for it. But yeah, the idea is kind of there. And so this one we got George, Cheryl, Ken, Hannah, Kathy, Carmen, Ingrid, Rosemary, Blind Guy,
yep,
Frank, and Tony. Here's the weird thing about this film. Yes, George and Cheryl are probably going to be the leads, I guess. But there's really no lead in this. It's kind of like just a bunch of supporting actors having fun, and I kind of like that. I was okay with that.
It doesn't take itself too serious, and it is more of an ensemble cast where everything's going crazy, and the demonic possessed zombie type creatures. People are getting bitten. There's a lot of Romero in here as well.
Oh God, I would say yeah.
Evil Dead, but without the same flair as Sam Raimi, but. There's a lot to enjoy here.
Well, you got the Evil Dead, but you can also say Evil Dead 2 took from this a little bit. Again, they all borrow from each other in some form or another. This is very well respected in the horror community.
Yes.
That's for sure. I love the opening with the 80s pop version of Goblin. And, and then I just think it's funny. You got this long opening scene, right? And you think Cheryl's being stalked. Obviously, she's not. The man behind the mask is giving her, the little ticket. It's so. I got love him.
Technically, he is stalking her because he's setting her up. Her and her friend who's playing.
No, he's not, because that's what I'm about to get to here. Before you rudely interrupt me, Mr. Profound.
Right.
So, she's on the train, and then she sees these images of the man behind the mask, like his reflection.
Yes.
On the train. Why the fuck's that even happening?
It's just to be sort of, I don't know, atmospheric type thing.
Yeah, see, that's something Lynch would fucking do. And that's what your boy Edgar's. So that's what bothers me. Like, I don't mind you want to be artsy-fartsy and do something different, but don't put something in there for the fucking sake of putting something in there going, what the fuck? And you have no explanation for it.
But it is sort of, it's man behind the mask and tall, sort of creepy, but sexy ginger girl who it's very much suggested they're behind this, knowing that the film is cursed and they're getting people to get them possessed.
She has nothing to do with this, Cheryl.
No, I'm not talking about Cheryl. No, but they're looking victims. I'm talking man behind the mask.
Oh, you're talking Ingrid.
Yeah.
That's you're talking about the usher, the girl.
Yes, the usher.
Ingrid.
Yeah, her and man behind the mask.
But what does that have to do with what I'm talking about?
Oh, no, I'm just saying. I got from
that
what
has
you were saying.
Nothing to do with what I just. You should piggyback on what I said. Not going off to a fucking whole new topic.
No.
What I'm saying is they're peppering. You don't want to argue with me on this one because I'm right. You fucking got a hard on for Eggers. You got a fucking hard on for Lynch. They pepper in the shit, and you're like, oh my god, it's masterpiece material.
Well,
this is stupid. This is stupid. This was amateurs him doing this.
No, I totally got it. I totally got what he was doing.
Okay.
So, all right, maybe it was a bit, but you know what? So what? He's just, he's playing around. But in my head, it is sort of, it's basically, it's sort of setting up sort of man behind the mask as the big bad, which he sort of turns out to be.
Yeah. We'll discuss some later on. Because he doesn't target her. He just gives her the thing. And then she goes back to him asking for another one for her friend Kathy.
Who looks about 40?
Yeah. I know, they're college students.
Yeah, right. Mature students?
Yeah.
Well, Cheryl certainly looks the part.
She's cute.
Yeah.
I liked her. I like when you go to this theater, the Metropole. And
yeah, it's very European.
Very European. It's kind of cool. And you walk in there and there's these two beautiful prints, and I want them, of Terminator and Creepshow.
There's also some brilliant posters in the cinema if you look closely. Nosferatu and stuff.
But those are more like hanging. There's actually 2-frame beautiful prints. When they walk in, you see the bike featured in the movie and the mask, right?
Yeah.
On the bike there. But on the left and right side, there's 2 beautiful prints of Creepshow and Terminator.
And there's a pretty cool bike there too, which comes into play later on. And I'm not even a
we'll talk about samurai bike guy.
Rambo bike samurai guy. Yeah.
I do like the way it works when it quickly introduces the characters. You've got Ken and George. You got Tony, who's the badass. I think he's a pimp.
Yeah, he is. They're hookers.
Yeah, with Rosemary. I think one of them was called Rosemary, and the first one to get it. And you got the blind guy. You got Frank, who's kind of a dick. You got all these different characters, and they literally have over the top personalities to let you know who to differentiate who each one really is. And I do enjoy that they did that, and they do it when the movie's playing because they're talking to it. One guy goes, "Shut up," and who's the aggressive one.
Yeah, apparently the inclusion of the blind guy was a joke because the joke is basically why would a blind person go to a
but he's taking his daughter.
Yeah, who's also having a bit of, as you would say, yum time with some other random older guy. But here, let us not forget the badass punks who.
Well, we haven't been introduced to them yet. Yeah, but the guys who snort Coke, literally Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and then they spill it all over the car. And then Mr. Badass is like, "You fucking pick all of that up."
So the movie, you know what's funny? I looked it up. There's no title for the movie. They never tell you.
Right? Are you
sure? I looked it up. Positive.
Right.
Couldn't find it. Hey, if anyone listens to this podcast, if you can send us a shout on Facebook or Instagram, let us know what the title of the film is. I looked it up. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, the film.
All they tell you that it is, they did take from the Evil Dead, and it's about 2 couples sneak their way into an ancient burial ground that is alleged to hold the bones of Nostradamus, and they encounter their own demon infestation. Yeah. And once that happens, it happens in the theater.
And it also brings to mind H.P. Lovecraft and M.R. James. Their stories were very much, antiquarian sort of, buildings, our characters, going to these remote buildings and finding graves or cursed sort of books. So yeah, Bava here, or son of Bava, certainly knows his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, despite some of the execution being a little, I don't mind that because the guy is at least, he did his homework and studying his father's work, Dario Argento's, Sam Raimi's, maybe a little Lovecraft in there, maybe even Barker. So the guy's well-versed and well-read in this field, in this genre. So you can appreciate that. And I also will appreciate the gore is quite effective.
It's quite creepy.
It's kind of creepy.
Not so much it almost, gore, but their eyes when the turn.
Yeah, it almost looks like when he's ripping skin. It almost looks like it's paper, but it's done to the point where it's crude and it kind of works.
Yeah, and it's fun. But also, I would say whenever they change, especially the first few changes of the hookers and stuff, whenever their eyes go yellow and they're talking demonically and stuff, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about my favorite shot is the poster when they think they're okay, and then you see all these zombies coming up from the concession stand,
brilliant shot,
and it's all blue behind them, and then you just see their eyes and their shadows
shining yellow.
It's quite fucking creepy. I think it's on their. I think it's the poster shot,
and it's very zombie plague Romero type, but putting his own sort of touch to it.
Yeah, putting his own spin on it. And that's okay, and because it certainly does work. The guy's got talent, but there's some issues. There's some issues. But the funny thing is, there's not much to talk because once Rosemary pops her zit and things just go ape shit, and then she claws her other friend in the neck. That's where everything starts just going out.
Actually, what's a really good scene as well? It's when her friend is, obviously she's been, sort of scrabbed along the neck by her. But before she turns and she goes behind the cinema screen, and that's where she turns, and it's actually really well done.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Scream 2 did that a little bit with Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yes.
And and her screams are covered by the sound of the screams that are going on in the film.
Yeah.
And so they kind of play on that. And the one girl's quite smart. I think it was Kathy who caught it going, something's going on here, guys. This is legit. And that's where everything goes apeshit because she turns. And now I do love when the blind guy gets his eyes ripped out. The poor bastard.
Yeah, I know. But that probably wouldn't have hurt him anyway, so, you know.
Yeah. Well, no, it probably would have.
Yeah, well.
His eyes were still there, probably.
I'm not really an expert on sort of the
Oh, you're not an expert when your eyes get ripped out? That
no,
if you're blind,
not yet anyway.
You be numb?
When they're ripped out by demons, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, there's some fun stuff here, like when the two are making out, the daughter of the blind guy and some doofus, and she's strangling with the rope as they're making out. So
I would say that all of the young, with the exception of Cheryl, every single one of the young characters in this film are complete and utter dipshits. You know, they're idiots.
No, I think George is all right.
George is all right, but he's like Poundland Rambo, you know, with a samurai sword on a motorbike later on. His mate's a dick.
I like some of the effect. Ken, that was Ken.
Yeah.
I like some of the effects where the tongue comes out, and then you see her. There's a nice shot. It's kind of gross. All her teeth are falling out as they're being replaced by fangs.
Yeah, really good, really well done.
Yeah,
and there's also one later on where it's basically Cheryl's friend. What do you call her? Is it Kathy? Isn't it? Kathy. Where it's like a demon literally climbs out of her body. You know, it's really well. It's really effective.
Yeah, it's got some cool shit in there, and so when all the shit kicks off, they all run to the exit, obviously, and they start ripping down the doors. And the doors are coming off. Are they Are they cemented in? Is that what happened?
Well, I got the impression that the demonic force that it caused them to become demons had basically locked the doors, because it sort of suggested later on when dipshit punks arrive and the door opens for them that's caused by the demonic force.
No, it's not. The blind guy got out, remember?
Yes, I know him as well, but
he let him.
Yeah, well, suppose it could be explained by that actually.
And that's why all the chaos happens outside, because the blind guy gets out and attacks the cops.
Yes, that's right. But I very much got the impression that it was a demonic force that was keeping them in the cinema, plus the fact their own dipshit force, which was making them stupid.
Yeah, I just didn't get that, because they knocked down the doors and then there's another wall there. So I don't know if that was just maybe some.
I don't know.
Okay.
I do like that there is quite a lot of this left their own imagination. Like, what were the reasons? What were the motives behind sort of Guy in the Mask and Usher, Creepy Girl and stuff? But I like how that's left sort of unanswered.
Well, I don't like that myself, because they do have Demons 2, and I looked at the cast, and Demons 2 has none of these guys in it. So
no, it's a different story, I think.
Yeah, I heard it's a different story, so I'm not going to bother to revisit. But yeah, during this chaos, there's some nice stuff, like that woman getting scalped is pretty good.
Yes.
But I like the fact that you had Tony, Ken, George, and I can't remember the other guy, but they're trying to keep Rosemary from coming in. And she's going fucking ape shit through this door.
Yeah.
And they all help each other.
Yes. The bond together.
I like the fact a lot of it doesn't work out for them because they're idiots. But I do like the fact that there's no bickering, blah, blah, blah. You know how you always have the infighting going on or something. There's always some.
Although that can add to the drama. But I see what I get what you're saying.
You don't have time for drama.
Well, I think it could.
You can't take a piss.
Well, I think it could have done with taking its breath a bit for a bit of, because it does, from certainly in the final act, it does go a bit too chaotic and a bit too crazy, and that you're like, what the fuck's going on here? You know, what's happening here? And I think it could have done with at times sort of stepping it back a bit, just for the audience to catch their breath and having a bit of drama between the characters, maybe a bit of dialogue of them arguing, you know, over who was going to be the leader or what to do or whatever. I did like, however, with the pimp guy, who Tony. Is a bit, he's a badass at first, but then he like helps him, but then he of course gets bitten and he becomes one of the demons.
Yeah, he's kind of like everything. He's like the Chris Rock of the team because he always yells everything.
Yeah.
And then, but he goes out like a badass. He takes two of them over the edge,
yes,
of the balcony, and then they have to cut the rope.
Yeah, But I think he would have been a better, maybe leader of the gang than George. But George did his best, and he did quite well.
Well, he survived, so he did all right.
Yeah.
But as this chaos is going on, they go up to the projector booth and they find out the projector booth's automatic.
Yes.
And there's nobody running it. So they destroy the film is what they do. But that's why I wish we had some kind of reasoning here. Like they found like the Necrocoma book or something. Something that give us something. What the fuck's going on here? We needed that moment. And maybe that's the downtime we needed. A downtime for them to assess the situation.
Yes, whenever we are catching our breath a bit, or we're going to be filled too much, but filled in a little with the reasoning behind this. Because basically from about the halfway mark, it's just wall-to-wall craziness, which is okay in and of itself. But sometimes I think it's good and better to step it back a bit, just for people to actually know what's going on.
Yeah, there's a movie that's like this, that's nonstop chaos, and it's intense and fun, but they knew when to give us a moment to reflect, and that's Train to Busan. They do that really well. Film. And we'll definitely get to that trilogy soon. But yeah, I do like all this chaos. You got Motley Crue playing, you got Saxon playing, just fucking. And then it cuts to Go West. We close our eyes and we meet these fucking idiots: Nina, Baby Pig, Ripper, and Hot Dog. And these guys, I think it's funny. I was like, "Are we watching Mad Max again?" But yeah, they're just coke heads. And it's here's the problem: the movie's an hour and 28 minutes, and you kind of said it yourself. They needed more downtime, and that downtime should have went to the people in the theater and give us more of that. These guys should have
agree completely.
There's really no point.
They do nothing for the plot.
No point. They had nothing for this film. And quite frankly, it takes you out.
I agree.
It's the film.
Totally. The downtime, like you say, should have been given to the main characters in the cinema instead of these absolute clowns who are the least convincing badasses ever. But they would be kind of funny in something like a Mad Max film, but they should have been cut from this.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, there's a scene where they find a mystery building or something. They knock down a wall and they find this separate area. And they walk in and they find this other wall. So it's kind of nowhere to go. So they're just trapped in their wall. And the girls start going apeshit. Did I miss something, or are they just screaming because they're panicking?
No, they're screaming because they're being pursued by carnivorous demons. That's all there is.
Yeah, but everything was calm. They found that, and they found out there's no way out. But the girls start going apeshit. I was like, whoa! By the way, that's nothing. Way too much screaming. I know, yes, you would have some screaming, but in the cinema, you kind of want to calm that down a bit after a while.
Well, I can sort of understand the screaming. You know what I mean? What do you want? Stuff up?
No, you can't have. You got to fit it in somewhere then, because it's
the problem
too
is,
much.
From around the halfway mark onwards, there's too much random stuff going on here in so many ways, and you don't really get a chance to actually become emotionally involved with the characters or also and the story. It's just a bit too chaotic. Still fun, but chaotic.
So when George gets on the motorcycle and becomes Samurai George.
Yep, Rambo Samurai George, yep.
I got to ask this. Where the fuck did helicopter come from?
Beat me to it. Random helicopter falls through the roof. I can only presume it's a police helicopter that was sitting on the roof, but it is never referenced before or even after. Just a random helicopter falls through the roof.
They might get away with it because when you go outside, all the chaos has gotten bigger because the blind guy got out, attacked the cops, and now it's snowballed.
Well, that's what they want to do. They want to basically take over the world. And
so that's what's happened. I'm assuming you're right. It's a police or a reporting cop or whatever. Or I thought it was like a reporter's, like a heli, but it doesn't even say like News 11 or something on there. So I was.
Oh no! It's and while we did have a couple of good deaths with the propellers,
I do like the deaths. Rips the guy's face off.
They did miss a trick, presumably down the budget of having George and Cheryl fly back up in it. But I'm presuming that's down to budget or the fact that they're two dipshits who can't fly a helicopter.
No, you can't say George dipshit because he's the Samurai George of the motorcycle, and then he builds a fucking harpoon gun.
He's Rambo.
Out of spare parts to get them to the roof. So the guy's pretty smart.
West German Rambo. You know.
So I love how I'm still shocked at the helicopters. Like, where the fuck did this come from? But you know what though? The movie's kind of a chaotic mess. It's almost like a first-time director. And he's somewhat of a first-time director, where he's given a free range, and he's just going with crazy batshit shit. Give me crap. It's not crap. It's actually well done when it happens, but you just don't understand why it's happening.
It's almost like maybe even like the studio or something who was producing it for him said, "Oh, by the way, we have a helicopter here that we used in another film you can use if you want." And he's like thinking to himself, "Yeah, helicopter, stick that in." You know what I mean? Motorbike, fuck yeah, stick that in. Yeah, samurai sword, there we go. So yeah, it does feel like it's just a bit. It's like certainly the helicopter anyway is just thrown in. Actually, the motorbike scene actually reminded me of Kevin Dillon in The Blob.
Oh Jesus. We just need that sweet mullet.
I mean, what a mullet.
So when George saves them and gets them up there, obviously Faceman is there, and he's going to kill George. Actually, I thought it would have been better if George kills Faceman, but Faceman kills Cheryl. It would have been better because the ending we get with Cheryl is terrible. And I do like Metalface's death with the nails.
Yeah, it's pretty gory.
It's pretty gory, 9-inch nails. But when they get up to the rooftop, they realize the whole town is affected now. Which I'm fine with because I can understand when blind guy and the cops it all snowballs. That's fine. But when they get picked up by the Jeep and they're like, we're going to the farmland, we'll find a new way of life.
A brave new world.
And I'm like, wait a minute, where did you guys come from? Also, and this most importantly, how do you know this? You probably knew about this 5 minutes ago. How are you all so well prepared?
The blonde kid in that Jeep is the same kid from Fucci's The House by the Cemetery, who is it's a really weird role in that House by the Cemetery, in that the kid, well, certainly for the English version of it, the kid in it is dubbed by an older woman, and it just gives this really weird, although I mean it's a pretty surreal and sort of trippy film anyway, but it just, and not only that, the older woman's voice dubbed with this kid, apparently, speaking the lines, it comes across as really sort of weird, but also it grates on you. So, but it's surreal, but that's the same kid from that film. And he was like the sort of go-to creepy Italian kid for horror films in the 1970s and 80s, And trust me, he's a creepy wee shit, especially in House by the Cemetery.
Yeah, like that creepy bastard from Children of the Corn.
Yeah. Isaac and Malachi. I love them.
Isaac. So they're in the Jeep, and a second goes past, and Cheryl's turned. It takes a minute or two. It takes a while for you to turn.
It's just for a final scare, a final jump.
And so Cheryl dies, and George is like, "Oh, there's a hot blonde in here anyway." So
fuck her.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
It's just for the simple sake of a final jump scare, a final scar. That
this I don't know. This movie's this fucking chaotic mess.
But entertaining.
It really is a mess, but it's entertaining. 100%. It? It's
really enjoyable, and from a nostalgia point of view, it brings me back to an era where horror films like this were over the top, gory and crazy and stuff, but they were never nasty. They were just fun.
Yeah, Yeah, they're definitely that, and that's exactly what happened.
With a great soundtrack.
Hey, I can see it now. I can see the conversation. Hey, Bava, come here. What? We got a helicopter over here. He's like, what? Yeah. He goes, I don't have any helicopter feature in the script. Who cares? Just to the roof. All right.
They
sounds
literally
cool.
threw it through the roof. They talk about that there, it's a Deus Ex Machina ending, an act of God. Well, it's quite literally here, but with a helicopter. I stuff like this, I will always have a great smile on my face while watching them. You know what I mean? And there's all the super gory bits, and you're like, oh, I know, but it's ghostry and horror, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun. It's got issues, of course, but the issues kind of add to the fun of the film.
Totally.
And so God love him, and he probably had a budget and just
he just went for it.
Fucking crazy. Went for it. We can't explain that. They'll figure it out.
It's not important.
I'm like,
it's not important.
He's probably right. And I guarantee you, he explained it right. Yeah, the blind guy caused all the people getting, from outside the theater getting it. And he's probably like, he got it. I don't have to show anything. No, give me the helicopter.
Let's put a bunch of badass punks.
And I love how the helicopter happens to land.
Yeah.
Right where all the chaos really is.
Just how convenient. Yeah. Apparently the censors, surprisingly, I think, and I'm not too sure about the US, but I think in the UK, the censors did not really have that much of an issue with the gore, but more the scenes of the idiot punks taking the coke and spilling it for some reason. Like when he's doing the razor blade on her nipple. Yeah, that's quite weird.
Like, this is not necessary. this is no, I'm not good, I'm not prude, but this is a fun film. I mean, I'm enjoying myself, and now you're putting this in there. I can understand.
It's just more random craziness.
And I can understand. I can just understand where the censor's going. Why did you put this in here? It doesn't go with it. That's probably what they were saying. And
I would agree that it's so unnecessary, but I wouldn't have censored it because it's not my place to censor. And but I wouldn't have censored it. But it is unnecessary.
It's not my place. I'm censor man.
All right, Mr. fucking Mary Whitehouse.
Fuck off. I'm not at all. But it's completely. I think it's unnecessary. Yeah. It takes you out of the film.
I want that 5 minutes
back. I want that 5 minutes back of those fucking idiot cokeheads and put it back into George's and Cheryl's story.
Well, I think maybe what you mean is not censored but edited. So, and there is obviously, of course, a world of difference. So, but yeah, I'm sort of agreeing with you there. But yeah, not censored but possibly edited.
Yeah, I don't care about them showing nipples or anything, but it had no place in the film.
I would agree with you there. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, I own it. I got it on 4K, and I just watched it. And come on, you put a smiley face, you enjoy 100%. It. It's what it is. It's amateur Romero on a steroids. Yeah,
with a bit of Sam Raimi, Barker, all the rest,
and Fulci, a little trauma.
Fulci, it's Dad. They're all thrown into the mixer, and that's fine by me.
Yeah, and he made it his own, so good on him. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Next up, Salem's Lot. Oh, yes. It's out, people. It's out. I'm going to watch it later, and looking forward to it. I listen to reviews. There's a couple of magazines I respect. I watch and listen, and it's getting it's not bad, and that means I'll probably like it because I'm a sucker. But we'll see. It's got a good cast, and I'm looking forward to talking about that one.
Do you think it'll be as good as Return to Salem's Lot?
Oh, me taking a shit is better than Return to Salem's Lot. Fucking hell.
Scarier.
Wow. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. Guys, give us a shout, especially if you know the name of the movie that's featured in Demons. That'd be an interesting one. Give us a shout at CitizenFrame_podcast on Instagram and, of course, Facebook. The Amityville Horror was our 250th podcast.
Go watch.
Yep. So, wow.
We've
Time
grown,
flies
we've grown so much over the last few years and hundreds of podcasts.
Well, not maturity-wise. Not maturity-wise. We're still fucking idiots. So.
We're officially, according to some of our listeners.
Oh, Chloe, by the way, is that listener. I found that
Thanks
out.
for the feedback, Chloe. Respect.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll chat soon.